Am I more forgiving? Am I closer to the Lord? If the answer is yes, keep going. If the answer is no, make an appointment with Father Chris and talk about it. So that'd be good, right? That'd be great. But go to confession. There's nothing better you can do to become a saint, besides Mass, of course, than to go to confession. If you faithfully go to confession your entire life, you will gradually become a saint. You really will. Because God will give you the grace to overcome sins that you think you will never be rid of. It's a beautiful, powerful thing that it's one of the greatest gifts that the Lord gives us is the sacrament of reconciliation. And being a veteran on both sides of the screen, both as confessor and confessee, there's a beautiful power of Christ there. Greatest, I'm sure Father Chris would agree with this, one of the greatest moments of being a priest is you're sitting in the confessional on a Saturday afternoon, and all of a sudden somebody walks in, and the first thing they say is, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 30 years since my last confession." And you think in that moment, that's why I became a priest. And you realize this person has carried oftentimes heavy burdens of guilt around for 30 years. And they finally come to a moment where they can lay that down and they don't have to pick it back up. And when they leave, you can almost tell they're physically lighter. You know, it's just like, they always say, why did it take me so long? Why did I carry this around for so long? And so the power of that sacrament. St. John, I'll conclude on this note. St. John Vianney was, he's a patron saint of parish priests, and I'm almost obsessed with him because he spent over 40 years of his priesthood hearing confessions upwards of 16 hours a day. People came to him from all over Europe. He had the gift of reading hearts. So if you forgot some of your sins, he would tell you which ones you missed. He had the gift of reading hearts, literally. He would get up at 2 in the morning, and there'd already be people in line for confession. He lived on like 2 hours of sleep a night, and during those 2 hours, the devil kept him awake. But he was so humble, the neighboring parish priest got jealous of him because of his success in his early years, his popularity. Everybody was going over there. So the priest got up this petition to the bishop saying, Father Vianney is ignorant, he's not equipped to be a priest, he's unworthy of being a priest, he's uncultured. So somebody showed that petition to Father Vianney, and he read it and he said, they're right, I am all those things. He signed it himself. I mean, that's the depth of his humility. I could see doing that to be sarcastic, but I mean, he did it to be authentically himself. But his whole life was given to confession, right? So don't ever be afraid to go to confession. Priest isn't going to yell at you. Priest is going to be overjoyed that you came. Priest isn't going to judge you, because the confessional is the mercy seat of Christ, and he's sitting in there as persona Christi. So from a priest perspective, it's just like, he's just so happy that you came. I mean, you can tell him everything, right? And there's nothing you're going to tell him that he hasn't heard before, and we've heard it all. So the other thing I think sometimes people think, if I go to my priest, every time he sees me after that, he's going to think about what I said, right? And I know this sounds exaggerated, but it's true. God gives us the gift of amnesia. Because I never remember what people tell me in confession. Number one, because I'm not supposed to, but number two, I just don't. So I never look at anybody later and say, oh, they told me that 5 years ago. I mean, it's just gone. So don't ever be afraid, because in confession, we come face to face with the merciful Christ. We come face to face with the person on the cross who said, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. And that torrent of mercy that flowed out from the side of Christ washes us clean, and enables us to go forward into that life of sanctity. So what a beautiful gift to be with you tonight. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all that you do for the faith and for your parishes and for our diocese. We're in a beautiful moment of opportunity. We're doing a synod next year. My pastoral letter just came out last weekend, and it's kind of like the opening conversation. And this fall there'll be parish sessions around the synod, and certainly everyone will be invited to be part of that. And synod is really a diocesan movement and process by which all of us pray, discern, discuss, to look to the future of our diocese and come up with concrete ideas and plans of how we can grow the church. Because I don't want to be your bishop and just watch things slowly, steadily diminish. And that's not the mission of Christ. That's not why we're here. We're here to grow our faith, to grow the church, because disciples make other disciples. So when we live out our discipleship, we make other disciples and we bring people to God. One of the best things you can do is bring somebody to confession that doesn't go. So drive somebody to confession, invite them to go. It's the greatest thing you could do in somebody's life. In Milwaukee, we had this Men of Christ conference. So it was an annual conference. We would get close to 3,000 men to come together for a day. We would assemble 120 priests to hear confessions all day. So they were going full blast all day. It was the biggest part of the day was just getting guys to confession that hadn't been in 20, 30, 40 years. And it changed their life. So it's a life-changing moment. I promise I'm really done. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Bishop. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful, wonderful speech. I just want to say again, thank you to all of you. Father Chris, you're hearing confessions Saturday, correct?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay, so there will be a lot of us there, I'm sure, on Saturday. I just want to remind you guys before you leave, Queen of Angels, Tony from Queen of Angels, is around the corner, and he has several things that will help you with confession. Books, how to make